Hi there.
Hello.
So nice to meet you, James.
Nice to meet you as well.
Please tell me, who is James Aspey?
I have been through a lot in my life. When I was 17, I was diagnosed with cancer in the world. I had a bad eating disorder with bulimia. I had a history with drug abuse for many years. And then I learned about being vegetarian and all the health benefits. And soon later, I learned about all the animal cruelty that happens when we purchase animal products. And I decided not just to stop eating meat, but to stop consuming all animal products so that I could be a more peaceful, respectful person to the other animals of this planet and also to look after my health better. So since then, after becoming vegan, I took a 1-year vow of silence, which means I didn't speak for a whole year, to raise awareness for the animals, to promote peace over violence. And my interview when I spoke for the first time was viewed by millions of people all around the world. Since then, I've traveled around the world giving free speeches about my journey, trying to encourage people to become vegan as well so that we can make this world a more peaceful place. And that's mainly what I've been up to.
I hope you have success.
Thank you.
So
far, so good.
Please tell me, do you have a girlfriend?
No, I don't have a girlfriend.
Why is that? Because I see a very handsome guy and I see no reason for being alone.
Well, it's a bit hard because I'm constantly traveling around the world. I'm never in one spot.
You can have more girlfriends.
No, I have lots of girlfriends everywhere. Girlfriend in every country. Yeah, well, it's just been a lot of focus on spreading the message for the animals, but I'm hoping that it gets to a point sometime, hopefully in the near future, where I can relax a little bit more and maybe start sharing my life with somebody. It's something I'd like to do, but it just hasn't worked out that way at this point. It's a bit hard. I have a pretty hectic lifestyle.
So you had no crush on nobody for
of course.
so long?
Oh, I'm crushing on people all the time. I'm crushing on people all the time. I meet amazing people in every place I go.
Okay. And you crush and then go on, or?
Yeah, well, I can't stick around. I've got a full schedule. Mm-hmm. But I meet a lot of amazing people and I have a lot of, memorable experiences, but they're just short-lived. So I have to move on.
So maybe they didn't understand your life?
Well, I think they do understand, and it's just the point is that they know I'm about to leave. Every time I get somewhere, I meet people for 2 weeks.
I can wait for you.
Can you wait 2 weeks?
Yes.
Yeah, even if I travel around the world?
Yeah.
Well, in that case, I'll put you on the list.
Thank you so much. If your girlfriend wants to eat meat, would you still love her?
If my girlfriend wanted to eat meat, that is a totally normal thing that people do currently. So it wouldn't surprise me at all because almost everybody in this world eats meat currently. But I think that when you start to learn that we can be perfectly healthy without eating any animal products and be even healthier, and that when you do eat meat, you are literally paying somebody to stab animals in the throat. So I think that when you learn that you don't have to pay people to kill animals for you to be healthy, I think that any sort of good person who believes in non-violence and believes in being respectful and compassionate to other beings, naturally they're gonna wanna go vegan. And it might take a little while because there's so much lies that people believe about thinking the food isn't good or that it's not healthy or that there's nothing wrong with killing animals if they don't feel it and all these things. But I think I would get to a point with somebody, with a partner, where I would think after a while they should want to go in that direction. It just makes sense. It makes sense for every reason to become vegan. And I think that it would be hard for me to stay with somebody who, even after knowing all of the facts and realizing the truth, that they wouldn't choose to go vegan. But my opinion is that when people really understand it, they do go vegan because there's absolutely no reason not to, and thousands of reasons to do it.
So first thing that you would do with some girl is to convince her to be vegan.
No, it wouldn't be the first thing I'd do, but
Second.
It's on my list. It's on my list because, it's better. Like, I care about people as well, and you know, if I'm going to spend my life with somebody, obviously I care about her a lot. I don't want her to smoke cigarettes because it's going to kill her, you know, maybe decades before her time.
Did you ever smoke?
Oh yeah, I used to do all kinds of drugs. But also, I don't want her to eat animal products because that will kill her as well. And not only her, but it will kill many animals as well. So it would definitely be a high priority, but I'm sure if she gets to know me, she'll realize that, you know, doing the right thing is an important thing in my life. And so I'm sure she would understand, but, you know, everyone deserves a chance. You know, I didn't go vegan straight away. It took me about a year to really understand it and learn how to do it. So everybody deserves a chance, but I think that when you know better, you should do better. That's what we should all strive to do. We should all be striving to cause less harm, to be more peaceful, to respect each other more. And being vegan is the easiest thing you can do with the greatest result, because it literally saves lives and stops so many animals from a suffering worse than your worst nightmare.
But how long took you to be vegan?
I went vegetarian and I stopped eating meat. That's what vegetarian is. And then a few months later, I started learning that it's not just about being vegetarian. There's cruelty in dairy, there's cruelty in eggs, in leather. And I realized I have to be vegan as well. And I spent probably the next 9 months learning how to do that. What can I eat? And it was very easy. You know, it didn't have to take 9 months, because it's simple. You go to a supermarket, you get soy milk instead of cow's milk. If you're gonna get a burrito, a Mexican burrito, you get beans instead of chicken, for example. You get extra avocado, extra guacamole instead of sour cream. It's very easy, but it took me a little while, mainly because I was struggling with an eating disorder at the time. When I had cancer, I started eating a lot for comfort reasons, you know, just to make myself feel good. And that turned into binge eating. And then that turned into bulimia, where I would eat so much food that I felt so sick and I would spew it back up again. So I had this emotional attachment with food, and it was very hard for me to just go vegan, because, you know, also you have to learn how to go vegan, which isn't that hard. But for me, the hardest thing was stopping this addiction I had to overeating. And actually going vegan was one of the best things I ever did to stop that, because I was so restrictive when I had an eating disorder. There was a lot of foods I wouldn't eat. I wouldn't eat potatoes, I wouldn't eat fruit, I wouldn't eat rice, I wouldn't eat carbohydrates. And carbohydrates are your main source of energy. So when I went vegan, I started eating fruit, I started eating rice and potatoes and all these foods, and I felt so much better that I didn't feel like binging and overeating on all these bad foods. And the day I went vegan was also the day that I stopped my eating disorder, and I never once relapsed. I never once went back to it again. The day I stopped was it, and that was 4.5 years ago, 3.5 years ago now.
Certain day, you remember?
Certain day.
What day?
January 1st, 2014.
1st January, okay.
Yeah.
Was there some moments when you wished to eat meat after you became a vegan?
Surprisingly, no. Actually, you know, I was
never dreamed of.
Oh, you know, I have had dreams where I was eating meat. Yes, actually, but I didn't want to eat meat. I'd be dreaming and I'd eat it, and then in my dream I go, "What are you doing, man? You don't eat this anymore." I do the same with drugs. Sometimes I'll be in a dream doing a lot of drugs, and then later in my dream I think, "Oh man, you don't do drugs anymore. What were you thinking?" And I wake up and I feel so relieved that I didn't eat meat or that I didn't do the drugs. It's surprising because I was the biggest meat eater out of everybody I knew. If I didn't have meat on my plate, I didn't feel like I was eating a meal. And I thought I was going to crave it a lot, all the time, but I thought, who cares? It's more important to do the right thing by the animals. I wouldn't want someone to kill me and eat me just because they like how I taste, if they can easily eat something else. And so I did it for them. But when I went vegan, I realized I didn't actually crave it, because there are millions of delicious vegan recipes. And we even have vegan meat, vegan sausages, vegan chicken. We got vegan ice cream, vegan pizza, vegan pasta, vegan everything. So I didn't miss it because I started eating all this other amazing food. And it turns out that I eat better now as a vegan than I ever did when I ate meat. I love eating more. I love eating food now more than ever before. And that's almost every vegan I speak to. When they go vegan, they find this new love for food because they're trying all these new vegan foods and eating things that they wouldn't have usually eaten before. So you think you're gonna restrict how much you eat, but you actually discover all this new food. So it's a good thing.
I saw on your Facebook account you have a lot of pictures with animals.
Yeah.
How many animals you have?
I don't have any animals.
No, okay.
Because I'm always traveling, so...
Mm-hmm.
But
no women, no animals,
no women,
nothing.
no animals, no troubles. No, I think that it would be great to rescue an animal and take care of an animal in need. But because I'm traveling so much, that's not an opportunity I have. So when I travel, I often will visit a rescue sanctuary where they've rescued animals who are about to be slaughtered, or they've rescued animals in especially bad conditions. And I'll go there and I'll maybe make some videos about it and, you know, just give some love to the animals and remember why I'm fighting hard and why it's so important. But me personally, I wouldn't say that I'm a huge animal lover, you know. A lot of people think that you have to be this big animal lover to go vegan. And that's not me, you know. When I see animals, I don't, oh my God, I don't do anything like that, you know. Actually, sometimes I do lately, but before, not really. I just think it's wrong to cause unnecessary harm to animals. And that's all you have to agree with to go vegan. You don't have to be a huge animal lover. You don't have to be especially interested in your health or be a particular religion or anything. The only thing you need to agree with is that hurting them for unnecessary reasons is wrong. And all the ways that we hurt them now is unnecessary. So veganism is already in people's heart. It's just about aligning your actions with your values that's already inside of you.
One more question about meat. Some people think that when you go to gym or do some sport, you really need meat.
Yeah.
Because of those proteins.
Yeah.
I think that you do some sport, right?
Yeah.
You don't. I mean, how can you supply the?
Yeah, it's funny. I used to think the same thing. I was a personal trainer for 8 years, and I believed you had to eat meat to be healthy. But actually it's the opposite. You're likely to live a much longer life, have less nutrient deficiencies, and reduce your chances of so many diseases, including the biggest killer, which is heart disease. When it comes to training, there are so many vegan athletes out there that are not just in the top 100, but even #1 in their sport. Even the world record holding strongman is a vegan. Mr. Universe of a few years ago, the man who won it was a vegan. The world record holding arm wrestler, or the world champion arm wrestler is a vegan. The a world record holding ultra marathoner, which is very long distance running, is a vegan. Gorillas, hippopotamus, rhinos, elephants, they all eat plants and they're the strongest animals. And there's a really good saying. We eat meat wanting to be as strong as an ox, forgetting that the ox eats plants. So actually everything we need is in plants: fruits, vegetables, nuts, grains, seeds, and beans. Everything we need, all the protein, all the fiber, everything. And you can get more than enough protein to be a big, strong bodybuilder if that's what you want. It's easy. If you want protein powder, we have protein powders that are vegan as well, made of pea protein or rice protein or hemp protein. So there's everything you need.
You know, I kind of feel sorry for you because you are a vegan, you cannot taste Romanian food. You know, we do have a lot of Romanian good and famous food.
Yeah, cool. Do you know what? I bet all of those Romanian dishes that you have, there's a vegan version of every single one of them. Every single Romanian food that is already made, there would be some Romanian vegans who made a delicious vegan version of the exact same meal, and you would eat it and not even know the difference. But even if that didn't exist, don't feel sorry for me. I've never felt better in my life. I'm so happy to be vegan.
Okay.
It's so much more important for me to respect the lives of animals, to respect the life on this planet, than it is for me to enjoy a 5-minute taste sensation. That is meaningless to me. You know, I like taste, but not so much that I'm willing to stab an animal in the throat just so I can have a quick taste. There's millions of other tastes I can have that I love that don't require me killing anybody. So don't feel sorry for me. I tell you what, in a similar way, I feel sorry for everybody who says they love animals or believes that they're against animal cruelty. You know, good people, and yet they've been taught that they need to eat animals to survive, or they've been taught that there's nothing wrong with murdering these animals as long as they might have a good life. But actually there's no humane way to take the life of somebody who doesn't want to die. And I feel very sad for people who are otherwise great people, loving people. If they saw someone punching a pig in the face, they would go and stop. They'd go and stop that. And yet then later that day, they go and buy a bacon burger. And I think that's very sad because they're going against who they truly are in their heart. And when you do that, it's, you know, it leads to a more negative life. It leads to a more violence-filled world. And there's already so much negativity and violence in this world that I think, you know, it's really important for the good people to do what they can to contribute to making this world a better place. And the very first thing that those people should do is look at the violence that they're contributing to in their own life. And by far, the most violent thing that any of us are contributing to, normal people, are our food choices 3 times a day. It's the difference between life and death, what you choose to eat.
What would you say to Romania? You have this event on 1st of September.
Yeah, I've got a conference on the 1st of September. And
you have a plan for this conference, or?
I'm just going to speak about some of the things I've talked about today. I'm going to tell my whole story, how I learned all of this, how I went from somebody who didn't even care about animals to somebody passionate enough to stop speaking for a whole year to raise awareness for them and dedicate my life to spreading this message. I'm just going to talk about why it's important, and I'm there just to try to educate people, to encourage and inspire people to make better choices, better for them, better for this planet, and better for the animals.
Okay. Beside of eating vegan food, do you also have other rules, nutritional rules?
No, not at all. None at all. In terms of nutrition, as long as it's vegan, go for it. Eat whatever you want. If you want to eat junk food, eat junk food. If you want to eat ice cream for breakfast, that's fine, as long as it's a vegan ice cream. You can eat whatever you want. Some vegans eat a lot of high carbohydrate foods. Some vegans eat a lot of raw foods. It doesn't matter. You're welcome to eat however you want as long as you're not hurting anyone else in the process. That's all that really matters. But there are other guidelines we follow. It's not just with food. See, animals are also used for clothing, like leather. So we don't wear leather. We won't wear wool. We won't wear silk. We don't use products like toothpaste that have been tested on animals or contain animal products. And we don't visit places that use animals for entertainment, like SeaWorld, for example, or a zoo. A zoo or a circus using animals, anything like this. Basically, we just leave them alone as far as practically possible. We let them live their lives the way that they want to live them, and we don't contribute to anything that interferes with them or treats them as if we own them. We shouldn't be thinking that they are our property, that their lives can be owned by us, because that is a mistake. We shouldn't be able to own anybody else's life in this world.
You say we. Are you a part of some organization?
No, I'm not. I'm just myself. But when I say we, I'm either talking about vegans, us vegans, or I'm talking about we, humanity, all humans. We should be trying to do better and make this world a better place and do what is right. So I'm talking about either vegans or all humans who have that spark of compassion inside of them, who maybe they love their dog, but they eat chickens. Or maybe they saw animal cruelty and it made them sick, and then they went and put the product of that into their mouth. I'm talking to everybody out there who believes that hurting an innocent being is wrong. That's who I'm trying to talk to.
You were diagnosed with cancer 14 years ago, right?
Yeah.
Now you are a healthy person.
Yeah. Very healthy now.
How often do you check your medical condition?
Well, not really for cancer anymore. I don't check it ever. It's been such a long time, and I think it's well and truly in my past. But I do get a blood test every 6 months just to make sure that I'm getting all the nutrients I need, that everything is okay, and everything has been better than ever since I went vegan. So I just do that, and that's all I really worry about now.
You're not afraid about cancer anymore?
I'm not really afraid about it, no. It's just something that I really believe is in my past, and you know, the way I live now, I don't do any drugs, I don't even drink alcohol or even coffee, no drugs at all. That's been for 4.5 years. I don't eat any animal products which are full of cholesterol, saturated fat, hormones, high concentrated doses of pesticides, all these nasty things. I don't eat any of that anymore. I don't eat I very rarely eat processed food. So I think I'm giving myself the best chance to be as healthy as possible. And you know, if something happens, but I feel like the way I'm living is definitely reducing the likelihood of me having cancer again. You've got to die of something, but I'd rather die when I'm 90 or 100 years old. I don't want to die when I'm 60, when I could have just easily eaten a little bit differently and added another 40 years to my life. You know, I don't want my family and friends to die young either. I want them to live a happy, healthy life. I don't want them to be on medications that cause other problems. That means more medications and more problems. I don't want that. It doesn't have to be like that.
Did you convince your family also to be a vegan?
Yeah. My mum and dad are vegan now. My brother's vegan. My brother's girlfriend's vegan. Everybody's vegan.
Oh my God, you're contagious.
Well, it's so good. Like I said, there's every reason to do it, and there's no reason not to. So when people learn the facts, they just say, yeah, you're right, this is better. Let's just walk on this path. It's more peaceful. The food's amazing. It's healthier. The animals don't get to suffer because of us anymore, and it's so much better for this planet and the environment as well. So it just makes sense to just change.
James,
Yo.
please end this interview with some thing that you would like to say to Romanian to forget about those great taste of their food.
You don't need to forget about any great tastes, because you can have all those great tastes.
Like sărmăluțe, like name it.
Yes. If you have a favorite Romanian recipe, you put the word vegan in front of it when you search on Google. And I guarantee you there's a delicious vegan recipe. And if you try it, I promise you will write to me and say, oh my God, it was delicious.
Okay.
It was so good, I promise you that. But for all the Romanians out there who think that maybe this isn't very important or anything like that, I would suggest to put yourself in the animal's position. Put yourself in that situation and think, how would you feel if you were lined up at a slaughterhouse awaiting your death when you were still quite young? Or it was one of your loved ones. We should put ourselves in their situation, and if we wouldn't want to be there, then we should really not be putting anyone else there. So it's a very important topic, because if we claim to be a civilized society and based on compassion and respect, we are doing that in a lot of ways, but in this way, we are running in the opposite direction. And it's because we believe that we are superior to all other species. But there are millions of animals on this planet. Millions of species of animals on this planet. And we all deserve to be here. And we all deserve to be treated well. And if we had to kill animals to survive, you know, that's a different story. I wouldn't even be here at all. But when we don't have to kill them to survive, when we can easily live and thrive without hurting them, shouldn't we do that? Shouldn't we move in that direction to reduce so much suffering for so many innocent beings who are just like children? They've never done anything wrong. They scream and they cry just like children.
I have an idea.
Okay.
What would your message be to yourself if one day, I don't know what reason for, you will start eating meat again? What would your message be to that you?
That's a good question. I would probably say watch this documentary, watch Earthlings at earthlings.com. That is a documentary that shows all the ways that humans mutilate and torture and kill animals for food, clothing, entertainment and medical testing. So I would watch that documentary to remind myself what happens to them, and I would ask myself, why have I started eating meat again? Maybe it was because I stopped enjoying the food. So I'd look for some new recipes. There are millions of recipes to choose from. So I'd find a few recipes I started enjoying. Maybe it was because I stopped feeling good. Maybe I wasn't eating a certain nutrient. So I'd get a blood test and I'd find out, okay, what's missing here? What do I need to eat more of? You know, whatever the reason that I started eating meat again, there is a even better reason to not eat that meat again. So I would just remind myself why it's important that I change, and I would do it. Because one person makes a difference. Every single person makes a difference, you know? And me personally, I'm just one guy, but I've influenced millions of people around the world and taught them about veganism. And that's just one person. And then so many of those people will influence so many more people. And this is how change happens. You know, slavery wasn't abolished overnight. It took, I think, 400 years to abolish slavery. And they discriminated against them. White people discriminated against them because of the color of their skin. Now we think how ridiculous to base somebody's life, to base the value of somebody's life on the color of their skin. And that's true, it is ridiculous. And it is also ridiculous to base the value of somebody's life on whether they are covered with feathers or scales or wings or fur. It's also ridiculous to do that. But this is going to take some time. But you have to make a choice. Do you want to be on the side of justice, or do you want to be on the side of the oppressors? And that's the choice you have to make. Vegan or non-vegan.
So because I want to end this with this message, and I want to be a short message, I want you to look in your eyes and say something like, I don't know, James, please don't do it again.
Well, I'm never going to do it, so I don't need to do that. There's vegan meat, I just eat that. There's no need for me. I guarantee you that I will die before. Unless, look, if I was dying, if I was stuck on a desert island, maybe I'd eat meat. Maybe I'd even eat a human if I was hungry enough.
Okay.
But until that day, you don't need to worry about it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.